Join us. Okay, I am here. Just trying to get this shared out. I think this is really, really an important subject today. Now, uh, let's get this rolling right now. Hopefully, everyone is having a great day. I know I am. Okay, and let's go. Let's go. Let's get this done. All right, so we are talking about probably one of the most concerning subjects that goes through the minds of survivors. We're talking about the new supply today. Yeah, that guy or that girl that you feel a certain way about. And let's be honest about it. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. Hey, Lynn, how you doing? I'm going to go ahead and send you that invite. I never know. So if I invite you guys and you didn't ask for an invite, it's just because it puts you up in the queue. So with that being said, let's get started with some people getting in here. Okay, I need TikTok to help me out. Like let's wish for 2,000 people, 2,000 survivors. I think that would be an awesome thing. Let me see who this is. I do not know, guys. I apologize. Uh, because all I do is just follow the prompts that come up on the screen. Um, yeah, let's talk about this and let's be interactive with this. Let's be intentional about what we are asking here. Let's ask some questions. Let's get the damn thing done. Let's get some clarity, as I like to say. I kind of like clarity. Um, Yeah, so it's been a busy day. I've got a bunch of messages to catch up with from different people about a few things about the course, about what's going on with Church of Real Talk, what's going on with the Now movement. And I got to cry on somebody's shoulder because I am like so backed up on work from the other side of what I do via Church of Real Talk, the non for profit. I am like so behind on work, but I'm going to get caught up. Um, so we're going to wait for people to get into this room, and then we are going to get started. I think it's important that we go ahead and get started on this. Let's see. Again, I'm doing this multi-stream so that we can get maximum input. Uh, why does TikTok do this? I really don't know why it does this. Um, Do me a favor, if you want to be a guest, do me a favor, just go ahead and put it in the comments because I'm like inviting like strange random people. I guess I'm going to say random people because it just shows up on the on the screen. So I just go ahead and invite them in. So let's start from the very beginning, get started because I'm going to have to clip this up anyway. Um, Let me make something very clear to you people. When we think about the new supply, we often think we internalize it to the fact that we've been replaced. We have not been replaced at all whatsoever. Um, you do yourself a disservice if you think that you've been replaced by the new supply. The new supply is just a continuation of a cycle. Okay, the narcissist must follow this cycle because if they find themselves uh, without supply, it causes like almost like a crash. It's almost like you're on your computer and all of a sudden it just like starts glitching and slowing down. That's because it needs something. Usually with a computer, it needs more memory. But with the narcissist, they need a constant injection of validation. Okay, they will always have to prop up their ego, and I guess egos are their identity. They need to prop up their identity. They need to prop up their mask. So they need to always find themselves in a state of constantly being validated, constantly being praised, constantly feeling as if they are superior. It's like, oh, everybody wants me, everybody needs me. So that's all. That's the only role that the new supply um, actually serves for the narcissist. Now, there's different levels of new supplies, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. And I think it's very important that we get into it because it actually touches on the whole dynamic of them, the narcissist, needing to find ultimately an empath, because the empath is going to give them, in their mind, the maximum amount of supply. So you have different kinds of new supplies. Okay, so you have the interim, the one that is just there, that gives them praise, that makes them feel special, makes them feel attractive, makes them feel handsome, makes them feel like they are special. That's all that supply is there for. Okay, and when they get bored with that supply, they get rid of them quicker than, I guess, name a moment. They just get rid of them. And you'll find that they call it monkey branching. You'll find that after the relationship, if they did not have a time, especially if you discarded them, if they did not have time or the capability to groom a supply to replace you or to take your place, okay, what's going to happen is you're gone. You're gone. So they need to hurry up and find someone that's going to give them that sense of feeling special, that sense of validation. So essentially, that's what's monkey branching, because you'll find sometimes after you discard them, after you come to your senses and you say, hey, listen, I'm not dealing with this anymore. You're detrimental to my emotional health. They're like in panic mode, okay, because the person that they were trying to groom to replace you, they're not groomed yet. And now they're sitting there figuring out, like, oh my God, this happened. I didn't expect this to happen. So now they, I guess, just go scour the block. They go find people that are going to validate them. They find people that are going to make them feel special. So yeah, they're gonna go back to wherever they came from, and then it's gonna, oh yeah, yeah, I remember you thought I was cute, or you thought I was handsome. So yeah, now's your time. Um, and they'll do this constantly until they latch on to that empath. Okay, because the empath is always the main supply. The empath is always their main source of validation, and this is where they go into the full script. The love bombing, everything else. They're not going to do that for the interim supply, because they know, they're like, you're just transactional. You're just a transactional person. So yeah, be aware of that. Hey, what's up, Marie Leo? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the likes. So one of the things that I definitely want to touch base on when we're talking about the new supply is you were not replaced. Okay. You were not, get that out of your mind, that you were replaced for someone better. Okay. Because that's what we usually think when we even get an inkling that the narcissist has just moved on. Notice that they move on quickly, which actually speaks to what I was talking about earlier. They need that constant source, that constant supply of validation. Um, Another reason why they do the monkey branching and the, hey, what's up, televisor? Thank you for joining. Um, and Marie Leo, you are a long time watcher. Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, Another reason why they move on so quickly is because they have not let go of you yet. Okay. In fact, they never let you go. The narcissist really truly thinks you are their pet. They really think, you are there. You're just going to be on a shelf waiting for them to come back. This is the reason why they never give you closure. Um, so yeah, they move on super quick, and they need to. It's damage control for the flying monkeys, but it also puts you into another psychological mind game. The narcissist is, this is why I tell people constantly, do not go and creep their social media. Okay, all you will find is pain and heartache there until you heal. Okay, so no contact is very important, because what they're doing is they're creating another narrative. They're creating a narrative that they know and understand is going to get to you. Okay, so they will start posting pictures and, oh, we just went on vacation, and oh, I finally found the one. This is still part of the show. This is still part of the presentation to keep you psychologically hooked to them. Okay, think about that for a second. That's why I tell people, and Marie Leo says after 19 years, he left with a girl 30 years younger. He even sent divorce papers. Well, you'll find in these dynamics, again, it's very important that they keep you on this thing that I call tilt. They need to keep you psychologically unbalanced, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, the goal is to hoover back around to you, okay? They didn't forget you. There's going to come a time, it might not be next week, it might not be next month, it might not even be next year, but there's going to be a time where the narcissist needs to validate their existence by making sure they still have control over you. This is why they play these psychological mind games from beginning all the way to you think you're free because you've exited out of the relationship. That is never the case. Okay, so yeah, they're going to show you all the things that they're doing, and they're going to usually do things. You say he found the girl 30 years younger. Um, it's all to make you feel a certain way, like you were never good enough. When the reality is, you were better than good enough. You were all in that relationship, in that dynamic, you were always better than good enough. So they need to play this cat and mouse game in the hopes that you're still creeping their social media, in the hopes that you're still asking, you know, friends that you both had together how they're doing, because they need to push that narrative out there, that script out there, so that you feel hurt. Remember, the narcissist, and this is what I try to explain to people, if you got out, you know that the narcissist did nothing but try to hurt you, to make your life as miserable as possible. Why would you think after the exit that mindset would change? And Sugar 67, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. You know, so yeah, you have to just go no contact. I'm going to tell you that's the easiest way I can say it. It makes no sense for you as a person that is trying to heal from all of this crazy behavior. You as a person that is trying to get your life back together, that you should be keeping tabs on the person that did nothing but cause you pain. Okay, you have to think about that for a second. It's almost like, I think I put up a short video and I thought it was so funny. In fact, I laughed myself silly for like a half an hour. It's like on garbage day or waste day, you know, you're supposed to take your bags, put them out to the curb, so that, hey, Shell's 18, thank you very much for joining. And let me see, I don't know what this is saying to invite her. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, you put the garbage out on the curb. Okay, it's a process. You know, you put the garbage out on the curb and you actually go back inside of the house. Let me ask you a serious question. How many of you go inside the house, grab a cup of coffee, and wonder the journey that your garbage is taking? Who is handling your garbage? Who is processing your garbage? Who is, you know, going through your garbage? You don't care. You really don't care. And if you were lucky enough to get your wits about you and discard the narcissist before they sent you through a discard, why do you care what they're doing? Why do you care? Love yourself. Thank you so much for the follow. Love yourself 2026. I appreciate you. I'm gonna follow you right back when I get off of this. Thank you so much. And let me just, I have been no contact for 5 months, but have kids in common. Marie Leo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, thank you for the follow. I'm going to tell you something. I understand because I have kids with my ex-narc. Okay, I do. And the reality is that you can't go complete no contact. And I'm actually, so many people ask this question that is going to be my next course, you know, controlled access. Because you can't just go no contact. But you can actually, here's the deal, You can actually, thank you so much for the likes. You can control the access. Many people forget, and I say this often, you are no longer in a relationship with this person. So all the old rules, all the old concepts that you believe that should be part of a relationship no longer hold. All you're concerned about is the three things that dictates that you have to keep a lane of access open. That's if you have a business together, that is if you own property together, and most importantly, if you have children together. Okay, you have to learn very quickly how to control the access. It is very, very important, because if you don't know or you don't learn how to control the access, you will be drawn into issue after issue after issue. Okay, there is a way to control access. Okay, and like I said, that's going to be my next course that I'm going to offer to the masses. Thank you so much, for putting that out there, because that's another thing that many survivors deal with. I've got kids with this nincompoop. The hell am I supposed to do? Everybody says go no contact, but how the hell do you go no contact when I gotta figure out what's going on with the business, or how we're going to take care of this property, or how we're going to make sure that our kids are raised correctly. It's a hard battle, but trust me, it can be done. So I'm going to pin that. In fact, let me get a pen and write that down. Um, Controlled access. Look forward for that. I'm going to start working on that probably next week. Controlled access course. So thank you for bringing that up. I think that's very important. I try to build courses based on what I've gone through and what I've discovered. Hey, Jeanette says, thank you so much. Thank you for being a long time watcher. I appreciate you. Um, and thank you guys for the likes. Make sure you share this out, because somebody needs to hear this. Somebody really, really needs to hear this. Okay. But back to the new supply. If you've not really been no contact and you're finding out that they're seeing somebody else, you are in a tailspin. You're like, God, we just broke up 10 hours ago. How did that happen? Well, here's a reality joke. The way it happens is, first off, before you even thought that the relationship was on the rocks, narcissists constantly need supply. Yeah, you were the best supply, but they constantly need validation. They constantly need to, I guess, make sure that their mask is how they expect it to be. So they constantly need new supply. And I keep on telling people that, because you're worried, and let's be honest, as adults, we're worried about the intimate side of it. We're like, wow, they're playing in my face. What the hell has been going on? There's no way in the world that they're with this person 10 hours after they left. And, I'm just trying to figure out what happened. They must have had them before this even happened. Yes, they did. And I'm going to tell you something. 99% of the time, when you met that narcissist, you met them in a state where you were the overlap to a relationship that existed before you. You were supplied being groomed. See, these are the things that we have to actually take into account. What makes, I don't know, well, I do know. We were put on such a pedestal during the love bombing stage that we felt that we were special. And automatically our brain just decided, well, whatever the old supply went through or their ex went through, I'll never go through, because I'm different. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. You said it to yourself. It's not going to happen to me because I'm different. You can't get past reality. So what makes you think that at the end of the relationship that you weren't going to be the overlap? You were not going to be that person. The same stories that they are telling the new supply, especially if the new supply is the true replacement, the new empath, the same stories that they told you, they are telling the new supply about you. The same exact stories. Okay? Because again, they follow a script. It's a constant recycle of the same thing. You know, when you think about it, and I remember, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, I used to hang out with a lot of older people. And I remember this older guy, he's talking to me and he was like, yo, I'm going to tell you something. You think you slick right now, but if she did it to her boo, don't you think she's going to do the same thing to you? Females that roll like this, and this counts for males too, that roll like this. Hey, Merch, thank you so much for joining. Um, it's going to happen to you too. You can't, we go through this thing because we've been put into savior mode by the love bombing that we actually think that we're different. We do, and this is done on purpose. This is calculated. Okay, it keeps you from talking to the old supply because you feel you're special. You feel that you're above all the chaos that they've been passing out, all of this time. Okay, I have no freaking clue what the hell I'm doing here. So pardon me, and I have a question over here. Um, yeah, so I don't know why we think that we're different and then we become hurt when the same exact thing happens to us. And that's what happens. The same exact thing happens to us. Hey, Militia R22, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. Guys, go ahead and share this out. Like I said, somebody needs to hear this. You know, um, so you weren't the person, you were the position. Again, we have to, and thank you for joining, Hart. We have to remember we're dealing with a person that doesn't look at the rest of humanity as people. They look at them as constructs. Okay. Hey, Danny boy, thank you for joining. They look at everyone as constructs. Everyone has a role to play. So you were never a person, you just played a position. You were actually like a job role. You were not a unique identity. You were not a unique person. People as unique people. We do. We do this every time. This is what we do. People are people to us, not to the narcissist. People have a role to play. People have a job that they need to live up to. They have something that they need to do that is advantageous to the narcissist, but most importantly to their mask. Okay, we seem to forget we're looking at a person that their whole sense of being, their whole sense of existing is protecting this mask, protecting this illusion. This is why we have to put things, in perspective when we're talking about narcissistic abuse. We've got to stop thinking that oh yeah, yeah, this is a new person. This is my soulmate. This person says that they love me. And while we're getting these red flags, we're ignoring them because in a sense, we think that we're special. We think that we're different than everybody else. And most importantly, we think that we can fix them. We think that we can make them better human beings. If you take human being out the equation, you're not making anything better. You're not. You're just prolonging your own agony. And let me ask you guys a question, and for the few people that are here, please answer this. If you've gotten away, whether it was through a discard or a reverse discard, or you just got tired of the BS, picked up, packed your stuff, and left. Let me ask you a serious question. Did you find yourself in a state where you were grieving as if this was a regular relationship? Because by this stage you kind of know it wasn't a regular relationship, it wasn't a real relationship, and there was a lot of questions and confusion in your mind. Thank you for the likes, Danny boy, I appreciate you. So did you find yourself grieving the loss of this person? And thank you, Leanza Barber 55, thank you for sharing the live, I appreciate that. And thank you once again, Danny Boy, for the likes. Did you find yourself, and this is an important question, Michelle Monroe again says, yes, we grieve the person. Hell, I'm not going to lie, I grieve mine. That's why I needed to heal, because for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why I was grieving a person that proved to me every day that their main goal was to hurt me. Their main goal was to make my life a living hell. Why am I sitting up here feeling bad about them? Why am I feeling guilty? Why am I feeling like I need to fix them? Michelle Monroe says every day. Hopefully you are past that stage. I can only hope that you're past that stage because you're grieving nothing. It's like going outside and I'm not going to say goldfish, but planting a weed and then it dies. It's essentially the same thing. You know, and you have to ask yourself if you are grieving them. Ask yourself this one very honest question: are you really grieving them, or are you grieving the version that you believed was inside of them? Because if you're out, you already know. You already know. You know that you had the front row seat to the greatest performance ever. That and I'm serious because that's all it was a performance. It was a performance to get you to that stage of confusion, to make you hold on, to make you feel we both met over trauma, and so I thought he was my person, but I see you not. Well, I think and I believe that you just followed me. If you did join my other lives, because I go deep into this, because narcissists and empaths are mirror sides of the same coin. Empaths go through trauma. They just internalize it and project it differently than narcissists do. And this is just me, Carl Jung, having long late nights. Yeah, I'm thinking you're saying you're an empath. Yes, if you've gone through trauma and you have turned into a loving, caring, concerned, want to help other people, you're an empath. If you just want to go around and hurt people for no reason except that it makes you feel better, then you're a narcissist. He was left by his parents in I'm gonna figure ditch in Africa. Yeah, but again, and this is one of the things that I had to deal with. People, as adults, we can help someone else heal. We can, and like you said, you wanted to save him, but in the end, we have to take ownership of our own healing. The narcissist believes that there's nothing wrong with them. They actually think that everybody thinks like them. Okay. And if hey T, how you doing? How you doing? Um I'm glad that you're here. I just want to finish this thought. Yeah, you have to stop as empaths. We have to stop trying to fix people that don't want to be fixed. We have to stop trying to save people that don't want to be saved. It's important, and I see Scott's here too. We got the whole team coming in. But yeah, I understand that, Michelle, that you wanted to save him. I understand. I wanted to save mine. I did. I did. There was a small window where while I was healing, the guilt kicked in. I felt as if I abandoned them. And in the back of my mind, as I'm learning about this stuff, I'm like, you've been replaced already. You know that you've been replaced already. Why are you grieving this person? Do you guys want to add on to this? We're talking about that whole grieving concept after you get out of the relationship. I'm trying to, and I need your help, guys. I'm trying to explain I, I, I guess the illusion of the new supply.
Yeah, the biggest lie that we tell ourselves is that the new supply is getting something that we're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they're actually getting something much worse.
Right.
They didn't win the lottery. They got a narcissistic abuser.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. As Blessed would say, radical acceptance. And what do you have to say about this, T?
I actually got to talk to the new supply. So, I know, right? I know, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do the face plant. Go ahead. Because I'm going to have to clean this up after you talk. But go ahead.
She called me a dumpster fire human, but it was very helpful for me because it totally obliterated any kind of fantasy I had that like he was giving her any more than he gave me because like we were supposed to get married, but he actually proposed to her, and there's a wedding, like it is public and everything, and but talking to her and then seeing his videos and stuff, I realized like he's doing the same stuff that he did with me, and but with the grief and stuff, it feels like you're grieving a dead person.
Yeah. Well, any relationship that you have feelings for is going to feel like that. We go through those same stages, and I don't want you to think that I'm coming at you, but you kind of explained the reason without me talking too much of why you should go no contact and not worry about what they're doing. If you remember the beginning of your relationship with the narcissist, again, there was an overlap. Guarantee that you overlapped on somebody else, okay, because you were being trained. What happens is the narcissist goes out of their way to make sure that you don't. They want to show you that they're with the new supply, but they want to make sure that you don't contact the new supply. So they're playing both sides of the coin. They're telling the new supply that, hey, listen, this person made my life hell. Okay, again, projection, because that's what they did to you. And they're saying stuff like, I'm scared of this person is unstable, this, that, and the other, because, and this is why you got the reception that you got, T, is because they probably didn't even know you, and it's another can of worms that they did, but they automatically said that you're a dumpster fire. Where did they get that from? Think about that for a second. Right.
Because he used to say that shit.
Right, but I think some people are going to miss the point here. The smear campaign. The smear campaign serves many purposes. It's to keep the new supply and the old supplies away from each other. It's to keep them from comparing notes. It's to keep them from ever getting together and say, you know what? There is something off in this relationship. Again,
but he also likes it, or they also like it when the supplies fight.
Right, that's triangulation. They love that. You know why? It's not even because of the violence factor. What it is it guess who feels super important? Guess who internalizes that as, look at them, they're fighting over me. See, this is the type of person that you're dealing with. This is not normal human behavior. Okay, if it happens, and then guess what? After the fight, you hate each other. The new supply and the old supply hate each other.
Sorry for her.
Yeah, and no, but go ahead and feel sorry for. Again, I said this earlier. You guys weren't here. When you throw out the garbage on trash day, do you go inside, pour a cup of coffee, and wonder about the journey of those bags of trash?
No.
You got rid of the trash. That's all you should care about. The trash is gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Let me drink my coffee and worry about my life, not the journey that the trash is taking in the trash truck or the garbage truck. You're not worried about that. You know, and this is why I tell people, do not go ahead and creep their pages. There is nothing but heartache, pain, and a bunch of wounds waiting to be opened. You know, do you guys agree with that? I know you don't agree.
I completely agree. I think that's dead on.
Did you just say I don't?
Huh? I don't think you do. You agree. Well, go ahead. I'm not coming at you. I'm just having a little fun. Don't worry about it.
I feel like females are different.
No.
But also, I think that it's everybody's journey, and they have to do what they need to do.
No, I agree.
Figure it out.
I agree to a certain extent. Okay, because I think everything, when we're trying to heal, everything really needs to be structured. Hey, Renee J, thank you for joining. Everything needs to be structured. Everything needs to follow a certain pattern if we're going to heal. Okay, if you go to your doctor and you say you have a cold, he's not going to run to the phone and tell the ER, go ahead and set up a bed because we're going to have to do surgery on this person to help them get rid of their cold, because that makes no sense. There's a structure that you follow. Yeah, maybe you get like serious pneumonia and they've got to actually take the fluid out. I get that part. But for the time being, you need to follow a certain path towards healing, which is usually, if it's really bad cold, I'm going to give you some antibiotics or something to ease the pain. Go get some rest, drink some tea, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I would think scheduling you for surgery for a cold is kind of extreme. It doesn't follow a logical pattern. And when we're healing, this is why no contact, and we're going past Carl Jung, okay? Where this is something that empaths need to do to heal correctly, because I'm going to tell you something that happened to me. This is why I had to stop doing it. Every time I saw the little icon with the picture, by the way, the picture that I took as a photographer, every time that I saw that picture, my nervous system would just go into red alert status. So I had to look at it and say to myself, you know what? Every time I even think about this person, much less see an image of them or go on their social media, I find myself back at stage one. I don't want to be at stage one. So what do you think would be the smartest process for a person like me? Not you, but for me.
No contact.
No contact. What do you think, Scott?
No contact.
Okay, so that's why I say it. I'm not coming at you, but I think maybe somebody else needs to hear this. Sometimes we think there's no harm in this, but there is harm. Not harm to them, but harm to you. Okay? The play isn't over. Get that in your mind. The performance that they have been given is never over. Sometimes it's just beginning, because they need to get you back so they can torture you further. They need that. Go ahead, Scott. You got something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, they definitely want to get you back, but not for the good things. They want to end you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to destroy you.
Right.
They want to see, oh, you're doing better. You're doing much better. Let's recapture you so I can destroy you for good.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. And I'm going to get to you in a second, T. I'm going to let you speak. They're doing better than you. Let me ask many people this question. Are you posting on social media because you want their attention, or because you actually feel good about yourself and you're doing better? Okay. And Chastity, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. If you're doing it for them, you're still thinking about them, and believe it or not, you're giving them supply. They view that as supply. They do. Okay. If you move on with your life and you're just doing you, you're winning. You are winning, and you know what? You're hurting them. See, that's that. If you are dead set on making this person pay, I'm going to tell you something. The easiest way is forget about them and do better. That is the best revenge possible, because what you're doing is the narcissist, even though I'm telling you to stay no contact, the narcissist is staying very, very contact with you, because they need to keep tabs to make sure, get this, need you to understand this, to make sure that they broke you on the way out. There's probably a flying monkey on the outside of this live that won't click join live, because they need to report back. I don't think he's worried about you. I think this movement that he's growing is actually people starting to understand where he's coming from. See, there's nothing that I do that brings them into the equation. Nothing whatsoever. I don't care if it gives you a narcissistic injury or not. That's on you, boo-boo. That's all you. That has nothing to do with me. If you want revenge, become the best version of yourself. Become the best version ever of yourself. You got it in you. Go ahead, T. I said I was going to let T speak. I'm sorry. Go ahead, T. She hates me. She's like, this one. This
like
is
I have a
effort.
love-hate relationship with you. Like seriously. Like Scott, like I'm all about Scott. With you, like sometimes you trigger me.
No, hopefully it's in a good way.
But it's I feel like it's more like a father figure. Like you speak truth, and I think sometimes your truth triggers me.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. But I promised like 2 weeks ago I wasn't going to sugarcoat this anymore. So I do apologize, but I can't. And conscious of what it is that I'm attempting to do to free empaths, I think sometimes, and everybody's in their own stage of healing. I understand that. But I think sometimes people need to just be like, they go around the corner and somebody just hits them across the head. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? And I do that because I need all of you empaths, heads on straight, boots on the ground, going out there helping other people.
And my head has not been on straight because even though I left him, like I was still checking up on him, and then also I was no contact.
Okay.
But I was trying to warn the new supply, which you should not ever do that. But I didn't warn her. I tried to warn the mom.
Okay.
And then they went full force on me.
Right.
Through the mom.
Right.
And that triggered the fuck out of me.
Yeah. I can imagine. No, I can definitely imagine. That must have been a real issue because you're trying to help. And it's like it got thrown back. You became the bad guy within, 20 seconds? What do you think?
But the funny thing is I got information that made me feel better, too.
Okay.
Is they sent me a cover-up of... So he got my name on his chest tattooed. Okay. And so they sent me the tattoo, and they said, "From the King," which is crazy. That screams narcissist. Okay. But just seeing that tattoo and him trying to like cover me up, and you can still see my name, it made me laugh. Okay. But I think I'm to the point now where I'm posting on social media about him because I want to make fun of him. Okay.
Do you want to take this, Scott? Because she already said she don't like me, so because you know what I'm going to say, right?
No, I mean, like,
I know it gives him supply, but
I think recovery is not linear. I believe that you're 8 months out, right, T?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm 8 months out.
I mean, you're doing much better than 6 months ago, right?
Yeah, and the thing with me is I had to continually go back to him to where...
Wait. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I just got lost.
For me, I had to continually go back to him for him to break me down so bad that I didn't want anything to do with him. Like, and I know that's a sick...
Some people need that. They need that dash of ice water in their face to figure out what they've been dealing with. I get that. I survived and all. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. And hopefully next time you can join. But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I understand. Again, don't think that I'm sitting up here playing holier than thou because the pain was crazy for me. So don't think I'm judging you. It's just that I guess if you had to go cross country and there was no GPS, you would be happy if someone gave you the shortcut, right? Or gave you a way to cut a couple of hours off of your journey. You'd be happy, right? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I try to do is try to help people get there. Again, I need boots on the ground. So I just try to help people get there. Now, don't get it twisted. I didn't know what I was doing from one day to the next. I really didn't. But I had to sit down because I was no use to myself. I was of no use to my kids. I was of no use to nobody. So I had to figure it out. That was my slap in the face. I've gotten out, but I still feel like a wet towel. Like I don't know what's going on. I have no shape. I have no form. I have no identity. I had to realize that, okay, this person did nothing but hurt me. So why should I give them any more energy? Why should I continue? Because by this stage, due to research, I knew what I was dealing with. I understood it to a certain extent, and I said I'm not going to feed into this anymore. But everybody, has their own time. I just when people say things, and again, I'm not coming at you, and because I want to make this a safe space. Um, when like how you said I trigger you, there are things that you say sometimes, and please take this in a true friendship type of way. There are things that you say sometimes that trigger me. And the reason why they trigger me is because this mission, and that I'm never going against what you're saying because everybody heals at their own stage. But sometimes I have to jump in right after because, again, there are people at different stages of healing, and I don't want them to think, well, it's okay to go contact just so that you can reach out to the people and warn people and stuff like that. Because I can't take the chance that someone that is starting to get clarity, again, nothing against you, but someone that's starting to just get clarity, I can't have them backpedal because I did it myself.
No contact is essential.
Yeah.
It's like it all starts with no contact.
Yeah. It is one of the
that
first
toxicity
stages.
in your life.
It's one of the first stages. In fact, I just had to write down, you guys weren't here earlier, that's going to be my next course is controlled access. A lot of people ask that question because they have kids, they have businesses, and they own property together. So I think that's something that really needs to be broken down so that people understand, like, because you think you're asked out. You do. You're like, I got kids, I'm asked out. There's no way in the world I'm ever going to heal because I got to stay in contact with this person. No, you can actually go controlled access, and just to, if you want to be that empath or that good person, a lot of people don't know that there's a concept beyond gray rock that's called yellow rock that is made for those situations. This person's got kids with you. You don't want to be, completely ice cold because, especially if they've got your kids. Remember, your kids are just a weapon to them. So you don't want to trigger them so that your kids have to pay for your transgression. So, and T just got, she hates me.
I was drinking.
There you go. Renee J, thank you for the likes. Susie, thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys. Ask your questions. This is the place to ask your questions. Scott is actually a trauma coach. And he comes on a lot of these lives and he adds on to the conversation. And share some light and in a different way, as T has pointed out, which I'm appreciative of. I need as many voices as possible to reach as many people as possible.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you have left and you're in the trauma bond and you're going through withdrawals, what would you say to someone to get through those withdrawals? Because we all know how powerful withdrawals are.
The first step, and we can do this step by step. Okay, the first step is accepting what you went through. That's the very first step. You have to, as Russell would say, radical reality, whatever the word she used. The radical truth. What did she say? Help me out here.
Radical acceptance.
Yeah, radical acceptance. So that's going to be the very first stage. You have to. This is going to help you give up the ghost. You have to accept the fact that people, the person that you said that you love, never really loved you. That's the first thing. By their very actions, if you are truly in a dynamic that is narcissistic at its base, by the way they treated you, you just take a short trip down memory lane and you'll see that this person, their main goal was to hurt you and that they never loved you. So that's the first step to me.
Accept that the facade was from day one.
Because what happened to me was I had forgot a lot of the abuse. And once I got out of it, I was having flashbacks and memories and all this stuff.
Did you forget, Tia? Did you push it back? Because I pushed mine back. Because of the trauma that I already had, I have PTSD. My brain literally just put it in that folder of all my other traumas. And then when I came out, I was like, I would go and open a cabinet and then have a flashback. Right. And it was their coffee mug and it would trigger you.
What?
It's like you open the cabinet, you see their coffee mug, and you get
triggered. Right. And then I'd be like, "Oh my God, that really happened!" And then I'd be so angry that I would want to contact him and be like, "You motherfucker, you actually did this to me," and blah blah. Sorry.
I get throttled back enough. That's why I stopped cursing. But go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. No,
it was so triggering, and I was so angry, and I realized like this man made me look like a fool. Right. Yeah. The anger. It's a lot of anger.
Yeah. I mean, all of us go through that anger.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it. You can't hold them accountable for it.
No, you can't.
And
if it makes you feel better, you can hold them accountable for it. If it again, if in your mind you're saying, okay, this pain was caused by this person, this person caused all of this pain, whether they accept accountability or not doesn't really matter. You now have someone that you wouldn't feel that way on your own, would you?
Accountability is them losing access to you.
There you go.
True. That's a good one. Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. And let me answer this from Renee J. I can't go no contact. That's why I said I'm creating a course. I should be launching this soon. I'm creating a course that shows people how to deal with children, property, and businesses.
Also, didn't we talk about an app or something that the parent can message?
Yeah, we did talk about an app, but again, as long as you have a paper trail, I think in extreme cases, if you're in a heavy legal battle, I would take the court app. If you're if you're in a divorce situation and you're in a situation where there's a lot at stake, where they're lying and everything else, then I thank you for the follow on Narcissist. That court app is like gold because the counselor or whoever that's involved with your case, your lawyers, everybody gets to see that. But if you're just dealing with the fact that the other parent is a narcissist, they're trying to make your life hell, parental alienation, all this other stuff, I think that text is a paper trail, email is a paper trail. You just don't pick up the phone and have a conversation. See, that to me, that's where you kind of screw yourself over, because unless you're in a state where you can record that conversation, it can always be said at a later date, oh no, you misconstrued what I said. A text and an email kind of keeps you somewhat safe, if that makes sense.
Sure. Just make sure you have a paper trail, and like, if you can find a way not to talk to the narcissist, do that.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to communicate with the narcissist. Make sure everything is written down.
Yeah, you have to.
And whatever they say that makes you wanna lash out or whatever, like, don't feed into it.
Oh, that takes practice.
They're just trying to
they want that reaction from you.
Yeah, they want the reaction, but I'm going to tell you, and this is why I tell people you have to accept who this person is for the reality of what they are, because that's hard to do. People forget this person has studied you. They know exactly what buttons to press. They know. And Narcissist says that he has a suggestion. Well, please let us know. I love suggestions. I love that. And while he types that out, since he can't come on right now, you have to. That takes practice. This is why I create courses, because I know what it's like. If you've gone through reactive abuse in public, this person is like, they're the greatest at getting you to react, because they know all the things inside of you because you told them. You told them during nights of pillow talk, during the love bombing stage, during when you trusted them. You told them all of your fears, all the things that get you angry. You told them
all
everything.
my trauma.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, they know exactly.
Against you.
Good.
Yeah, we tend to give the playbook to the narcissist to use against us.
Right. Right. We do. There you go. I'm going to bring Narcissist on because Narcissist says he has some advice. I need as much advice as possible.
Hey, real quick. I'm Christine. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Christine.
That's also my account up above. I survived a narc. I have 2.
Okay, cool.
I'm on my way to work. I have to clock in like 4 minutes, but I wanted to jump up about documentation and everything really quickly. Please. To let you guys know what I found that has been an incredible tool for me, because when you're trying to come out of these relationships, we all know that they affect you mentally, your thinking, the brain fog and all of that. You can't really remember things the way that they happen. You can't put 2 and 2 together. So what I started doing is taking screenshots, and I was uploading them to an AI platform. You can use Chat GPT or Meta AI or both, because they're both different. And it started breaking them down for me. And I'm like, well, can you remember that we talked about this and the date and what he said? And it's like, sure, just tell me you want so-and-so timeline. And I was like, cool. So every time he would do something or email something, make sure it's email or text, I would screenshot it and upload it to the AI app. And it started building a timeline in a PDF form. It can also fill out like things for a police report. It does so much. And you can download it and print it out. And I don't have to remember anything anymore. It does it for me. And it's a very powerful weapon to wield. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. For anybody who's going through this. Seriously.
And I do want to PM you later, because I am in a support group with a lot of women that went through.
I would love to help.
And they need that.
Right, because he who documents wins, period.
Right.
If you don't document it, it didn't happen in a court of law. Like they'll just say, that's hearsay. Even if you don't have it in writing, if you write it down and say it happened, that's documentation.
Right.
So just empower yourself as much as possible. I am 2 months out of my relationship, and I cannot wait to get to know you guys. I've been looking for a live where there's real survivors actually, supporting one another and empowering one another and helping.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And we have one more female
on TikTok. They're actually very cool. I'm glad I bumped into you guys today.
I'm glad that you came in. I'm going to follow you.
Okay.
And hopefully that you can share notes with us, because that was an awesome tip using AI. I don't think people use AI for a lot of stuff. So that was an awesome tip. I know.
Oh my gosh. AI will make a PDF file for you to download. Like, it's so cool.
To take it to court, right?
And it gives an actual analysis. Yeah, and it gives analysis. And so I use both. I use 2 AI models now because they're both different and they're both so helpful in their analysis. So it's very cool. Meta AI and Chat GPT.
Awesome.
And they're free to use.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what days and times are you live, real quick? Yeah, absolutely. It was an accident that I stumbled upon this.
It was a good accident. It was a good accident. So yeah, I go 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I try to do as much as possible at 8 p.m. to catch the other half of the world. So yeah.
Okay, I'm Eastern Standard. So what time zone are you in?
I'm Eastern Standard.
Yeah, you're Eastern Standard.
Oh, cool. I'm Eastern. Okay, great.
Yeah. So yeah, come on.
Very good.
You're
all right,
always welcome.
Gotta run, guys.
Have a good day at work.
All right.
Very cool. Thank you so much. You guys have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay, so that was great advice, guys. And I'm
That was
glad.
awesome.
I'm glad. This is why you need to show up to this live, okay? Because I've been on a lot of lives and I've not heard that advice given anywhere. And I'm going to have to add that to the course. I'm going to have to add that to the course.
Go. My phone's about to die, but
Okay. Hey, it's always a pleasure to have you here, T. It's always a pleasure, and I want to thank you guys that have joined, that have actually come in. But this is what we are talking about, okay? But let's get back to the new supply. So why does anybody thinks it hurts when you, even though you shouldn't, you find out that you have someone has taken your status, someone is with your ex narcissist? What is the first feeling that you have? Put it in the comments. The first initial feeling you find out through the grapevine, through following them, you bump into them at some place that you used to frequent because they're going to take all the stuff that you used to do and do it with the new supply. But how does that make you feel? What is your initial feeling? Hey, Blazing Line.
Well, for my personal situation, when I found out about the new supply, it is illustrating that the whole relationship I had was a lie.
Right.
And then I just had to process that. But that's the first thought that came to my mind.
Yeah, Ray Small, thank you for that. But yeah, I'm going to tell you, she said, congratulations. For many people, and I'm glad that Ray Small actually felt that way, okay? Because for most survivors, they don't. It starts the avalanche of questions that you shouldn't be asking yourself.
I was actually grateful when it happened.
And I wasn't, I think that my narcissist has realized, I don't know how, but they've realized that I really don't care. So I haven't been, people, if I'm talking to my daughters, it never comes up. Nothing comes up because I think they realize I don't care.
That's the best policy.
Yeah.
Best policy.
That indifference is very important because I truly don't. Again, I go back to the analogy of the garbage. Once it's out, it's out. I don't care where it's going.
Absolutely. And you know what you dealt with. You know the narcissist you dealt with.
Right. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm ahead of the game because, see, that's how you win. Once you realize, once you have that thought that crosses your head that says, you know what? I really don't care about you. I want to be like T and warn you, but I know that's not going to help. So you're ahead of the game because you know what the new supply is dealing with, whether they know it or not.
And the new supply is about to be destroyed.
Yeah, and here's the deal. A lot of people, especially if the new supply is someone that was the overlap that actually knows you. That's a reality we have to deal with. Okay, the narcissist has no boundaries. They don't care. They'll sleep with your friend, your brother, your opposite sex, your sister, your mother. It doesn't matter to them. They just need the validation. I try to tell people they don't look at it the same way we do. Okay, so there are no boundaries. The guardrails on life that you expect from other human beings do not apply to the narcissist. Okay. So yeah, especially if it's that person, it's like Scott said earlier, you're looking at a person that thinks that they won the golden ticket. Let them enjoy their golden ticket. Let them enjoy that, because at the end of the day, never think that the narcissist is going to change for the better. The narcissist will be a narcissist until they hit the dirt. There is no hope for change.
And worse and worse.
Yeah, there is no hope for change. So once you start putting these little micro facts into your head, you'll find that you don't care. And Ray Small says, when one remembers their true worth, peace becomes non-negotiable. I choose me every time. Yes. And that's thank you for putting that there. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, it all starts with ourselves. Yeah. Self-love, self-care, boundaries. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's the only person who matters. Just focus on yourself.
Right.
And go forward.
Yeah, I mean, people have got on these lives saying, "Oh, they're getting married and this, that, and the other." Who cares? Who cares? You have to have that attitude of IDGAF. Because at some point, for you to understand that you've healed, you have to actually feel that way. You really have to feel that way. I don't care. It's not because you're a cruel person, and it goes against everything that encompasses being an empath. I get that. But again, I take you back to the front of the ranch. You left, or after you got discarded, you finally figured out what their main intent was. This is a person that, what do you think? How do you think they're going to get better after they treated you, who actually loved them? Who actually loved them? You were probably the best thing in this person's life, or if you weren't, you were working your way towards making them understand that you were the best person in their life. Okay, if they did this to you, when do you think they stopped doing this to other people? Think about that.
Don't they do it every single person in their life?
Every person. Every person.
Every person.
I can feel sorry for the new supply, but I'm not going to reach out to them. I don't care. There's no reason for me to care. Again, I take you back to the garbage truck. Once they throw my garbage in the back, I'm done. I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Absolutely.
Who is this? Is this clarity over chaos? Hold on 1 second. That would make my freaking day.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I love her. How she breaks it down.
Okay.
Huh?
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, take it easy, bro. Take it easy, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying. I think that is the main point that I'm trying to give you guys. Josie said, I got discarded 7 days ago. Best gift he's ever given me. You're looking at it the right way. You're looking at it the right way. That is the best gift that you can actually get from the narcissist, is for them to detach on their own. Yeah, it's not going to be a walk in the park, because they need to continue the process of trying to break you. They're going to devalue you. They're going to disrespect you. They're going to do all that stuff. But in the scheme of things, if they leave, or they just say, you know what, I'm going, my new supply is better than you. I'm going over there. Good, go, bye. You want me to call you a lift? Get the hell over there. Get the hell out of my house. So yeah, that is part of it. Hold on 1 second. She has said, hold on 1 second. You have no, and now I can't pull stuff up. Okay. Just give me a second. And thank you, Sabazara, for joining. But yeah, you guys, you have to start placing more value on yourself. Okay, you have been giving so much to this person that never deserved it. When you are looking at the new supply, you have to say, that's their problem. It's not my problem anymore. Crisis creates growth. You are right, Ray Smalls. You have no other choice if you want your life back. Josie says, yes, you're right. There is no other choice. There is no other choice. Radical acceptance. There is nothing. There's nothing else that you can do. There's no shortcut around this. You know how they treated you, so you have to accept the fact that you were treated this way. You have to just lock it into your brain, because it happened. No matter how much they gaslight you and try, oh, I didn't do that, or you took that the wrong way, or you're too sensitive, or you're being emotional. No, it doesn't matter. You know what happened. You know what happened, and you know for a fact that the new supply is going to go through the same thing. They're not getting a better version of them. Ray Small 996 says their loss, access revoked. Yes, it is their loss. You have to remember, how hard did you try for this person? How hard did you go to make their dreams into a reality? I remember I saw mine's, this was early in a relationship. Mine's was, family was talking to them, and they got off the phone and they were crying. Now that I look back, it was a pity parade. But they got off the phone crying, and I was, I'm hugging them up. I'm like, don't worry about it. We're going to change the narrative. I'm going to make them stop doing this to you. We're going to change the narrative. And I did it to a certain extent. I changed the narrative. But that soon changed into, I could have did that on my own. That still changed into, well, anybody could do what you did. That still changed to just a bunch of, I am not going to, give you credit for anything because it falls into that criterion. I'm superior to you. I mean, I'm bringing this person on the projects. They're getting, their name is starting to ring bells because of what I did. And I'm saying to myself, I did this so their family would see them as somebody. No appreciation. And that's not the main point, because I think I would have done it for, well, I know I would have done it. That's how I'm built. I would have done it for anybody that I was in a relationship with. Hey, what's up, me 63? I would have done it for anybody I was in a relationship, because that's what empaths do. You see your partner hurting, you want to be of assistance. You want to fix them. But that is the trap that we find ourselves in, is because while we're trying to fix them, the narcissist is doing feigned victimhood. Okay. And what we're doing is we're giving so much of ourselves. Thank you for joining me, Cream. We're giving so much of ourselves at the detriment of ourselves. We are literally slowly destroying ourselves emotionally to prop this person up. This is what this person wants. This person is never going to feed back into the relationship. Hence, back to the subject, the new supply. Do you think that they're going to feed into this person? That person is getting the love bombing stage that you got in the beginning. There's no difference. They think they're special right now, just like you did. They think that what happened, because what's happening to you, will never happen to them, just like you did. Think about that for a second. Thank you for the likes. And Ray, Ray Small says, when someone shows you who they are, do not try to paint a different picture. But we do. That's how we get caught up in this. We do. We literally paint a different picture. Think about it. And this is why you held on for so long. This is why many people hold on for so long, because you are constantly in your brain with the paintbrush. Who's that guy that used to be on PBS that used to do the relaxation? They call it ASMR now. He do paintings and stuff. That was us. We can fix this shit. We can help them. We can, at the very least, bring them back to the version that they presented themselves to be in the beginning. Ray Small says, fool me once, never twice. Yes, but I hopefully you mean that, but for the most part, if you've been in a narcissistic dynamic and you've lasted years in it, which means that you were the main supply at one point, if you've lasted years in that dynamic, you were fooled constantly. You were. Now that you have clarity, yes, she says lesson learned. Yeah. Now that you have clarity, and once you heal, that's when you get the superpower where you'll never get caught up in this again. But you have to heal. You have to heal, because this is the battle that has been going on since life existed on this planet. Empaths and narcissists. Narcissists will constantly search us out. They will constantly use us for supply. They will constantly try to break us. They will constantly try to break us. And this is why, I get on and do this. I really do. I started at the beginning. I'm like so behind the work, because I do have a nonprofit for Church of Real Talk. I'm so behind on work. There's like so much stuff that I need to get done. But it's like every time that I say, okay, I'm going to get this done today, and then I'm saying, what am I going to talk about on today's live? How am I going to help somebody else see through the fog? How am I going to help somebody hopefully realize that the dynamic they're in might not be healthy? How am I going to do that? And this is how my days start. And then, I do the 8 o'clock live, and then I'm kind of get something to eat, and I just want to lay down. But and then I'm thinking about new courses. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's hard. It really is hard, but this is some of the most important work that I think that I've done in my life. I really do, and I'm not trying to be funny about it, but I think this is some of the, when I make a course, I'm like, yeah, this is going to help somebody. When I create a book and I turn it into an audio book for free, I'm like, yeah, this is going to help somebody. You know, and that is always the goal. You know, knowledge is key. Knowledge is key. And again, like I said, I always hope that someone will take the same way of thinking that I do and say to themselves, you know what? I got out of this. It wasn't easy. Let me help somebody else. Thank you so much for very small. Thank you so much. And thank you for the likes, me 63. And this is what I really do with the nonprofit, you know. I mean, it hinges. I mean, because I've got to do stuff within my county, within Jersey, because this is where it's locked down to. But, you know, at the same time, there's a trauma, I guess, aspect built into it to help people going through trauma. You know, this is really what I want to do. I want to help people because I tell this to people all the time. It wasn't like a parade of me going through this. This hurt me to my very core. You have to remember, you gave everything inside of you to a person that was just playing a scripted role. How does that make us feel? The loss of time, the waste of emotions, the sharing of the things that you wouldn't tell your day one about, you know, with this person whose main goal was to destroy you. And on top of that, they went through stages of making it very clear, I really don't give two shits about you. My job is to destroy you. They made it clear. Thank you for the like so much. You know, where you couldn't, once you get clarity, you look back and you're like, damn, I put up with that. The hell was wrong with me? You know, what the hell was I thinking? You know, oh, Knock Talks is here. I'm happy. You know, now I can stop talking. But yeah, I want you guys to, you know, think about that. You know, hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not much. Just babysitting, so I might have to like.
Oh no, that's fine.
At any moment.
At any second, right? At any second.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's going pretty good. The conversation. Scott was here earlier. We had a few guests jump on.
Nice.
We've been talking about I guess, the illusion of the new supply, because a lot of survivors. I care with that subject because a lot of survivors get stuck in it. They get stuck in, you know, thinking about the new supply because deep down inside we think one of two things immediately. You know, how are they better than me? And because we've been trying, like real Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, we've been trying to make our abuser think that we are awesome and the best thing that they need in their life. And, you know, another thing is we're saying to ourselves, damn, that was quick. You know?
I'm like, wow, I thought it meant something.
Yeah.
Oh, that love bombing had me messed up, I guess.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, the speed is usually what those people want to immediately. It throws them off. Because they say to themselves, damn, we just broke up 10 hours ago. You posting pictures of your boo thing and y'all going on vacations and trips, and they, you know, I said earlier that they do this on purpose to keep you on tilt sometimes.
Oh yeah, to triangulate you. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's I think one of the top games is triangulation.
Yeah, it is. It is. It keeps their mask intact.
Yeah. But also they gotta run them through the same game that they ran you through. So and I feel sorry for them, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like go to any extreme of trying to like save them from the narc, but
right.
But yeah, they're on their own, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We had a guest on that said that they reached out. I'm sitting there, I just did a face plant. You know, why? What does that serve? You know, I can't think of, can you think of a logical reason to reach out? I mean, there's nothing that even compels you by law to reach out.
No, I don't, because it just feeds into their game of triangulation, and then they're gonna it's gonna make them want to smear you even more, and then become the enemy to someone else.
Right. Right.
And ultimately, we just got to protect our peace. That's what the goal is.
Yes. Thank you for you actually chimed in and signed off on what is base reality. I don't think people understand the importance of like what I always say, no contact, and don't worry about what they're doing. You know, again, I made up this cute little analogy earlier. You know, when you take your trash out, you know, do you go inside, pour a cup of coffee, and start thinking about the journey that your trash bag is taking? You
Then go
know?
dumpster diving and like, oh, I could have thrown that away. No.
Yeah,
you don't even look back.
Yeah, that's a new wrinkle. You go running after the truck like, no, come back. No, I need you to come back.
Oh man, no. Like you're like, here, do you need help with that heavy bang? I'll help you. Here's a tip. Take it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I think many of us, I mean, thank you for adding on with that. I think many of us, that's what we're essentially doing. We're dumpster diving, you know, because the narcissists, sometimes they do that to open up that door a little bit further so that you would want them back. You know, that psychological, well, I'm better than this person you're with right now. Let me get another chance to prove that to you. And now you're working overtime. Notice that they never gave you closure, but now you're working overtime to get them back. And yeah, that's essentially dumpster diving. That really is in my book. You know.
Yeah, and they want you to keep that door open. That's why they'll leave their trash at your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything
Anything to draw you back into the fray, you know. And this is, you know, and this is why I try to tell people, you know, understand that you were great before them. You know, I think a lot of times we're looking for validation from the wrong person. I really do. I think we're looking for validation from the wrong person when we do this. When we are, you know, trying to go back, trying to get closure. It's like this. If someone has told you more than once that they're not going to give you closure, I leave the shit alone. You know, especially if it's dealing with a relationship. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's like the worst part of their game that they play on you is that you want validation from someone who isn't capable of even having an ounce of self-worth. Right. So how could they see anything in you?
Can you build on that? Because I don't think many people understand that the narcissist really doesn't have any self-worth.
Yeah, they don't. And they, you know, their trauma, their childhood trauma, that's however it turned out for them. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's why they turned, I would say, to the dark side. I don't know what you want to call it, but they turned. Enough.
That's good enough.
Yeah, they did that. we, you know, like we all had trauma, but we made a choice and we chose to find value in ourselves, which is, it's brave to live that way. Right. But they chose not to, and so if you show them any kind of love, they will reject it.
Yeah, it pisses them off.
They can't accept it. Yeah. So like the best way to, if you really want to play their game, it's basically you gotta treat them like how they feel inside. Yeah. And that's just a toxic environment.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell people not to do that because there's somebody saying, oh, how do you get them back?
How do you get them back?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Go back to being the greatest part of the greatest person that you can be. Don't feed into their game because you're going to lose. You really are. And if again, and I have to bring this up again because there's somebody saying, "Oh, but I'm a dark empath." Yeah, you know better than a narcissist. You know, don't never become the monster to destroy the monster. You know.
No, that's exactly where they want you.
Yeah, they want you to be that way. They want you to be cold and heartless. And as an empath, that's not how your life is played out. So you're going against, it's like, you know, getting in the ring with, you know, the greatest fighter in the world, and you've just been training for a year. This person's been doing this for the last 20, 30 years. You're going to lose. You know, there's a 99% that the whole crowd is betting against you, you know, because you've just been training for a year. The narcissist has been doing this shit their whole life, essentially. So you're going to lose. You know, at the same time, feeding their lackluster identity that they're superior to you. They want you to jump in and decide to play this game. They do. You know? I don't know. Detachment and control. I think that's what we've been talking about most of the time. And I'm going to get on, and I'm probably going to later on tonight, and we're going to talk more about this. But it all boils down to detachment and control. Okay, you've got to detach from that illusion, and you have to have some self-control. Okay, and I don't say that in a bad way, but you've got to have some self-control because your lack of control is what you got trapped with this person. You ignored every freaking red flag. I guarantee you did. In hindsight, you ignored every red flag that they presented to you. Am I lying about this, Knock Talks?
No, yeah, it's true. And they, because of that, you end up living outside of yourself. You're not really fully in control of your own self and your own perception of things.
Yeah.
So you're living in a dissociated state, and eventually that can harm people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're harming yourself by not being fully in your own power and your own locus of control.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the scary part where people, because they're actually shaping you to be everything that you basically despise, but they love. They want you to be chaotic. They want you to, be mean. They want you to be cruel because already in their mind they figure that everybody thinks like them, believe it or not. In their little scrambled brain, they really think that everybody thinks like them. So they're just hurting you because they're beating you to the punch. Think about that for a second. You who are trying to love them more than you at this stage, if you've gotten past a few years of this, you actually love them, and I'm going to put this out there, more than you love yourself. And that's scary. Oh, gotta go.
She's saying again, she wants me to push play.
Yeah, go ahead and play. I thank you for joining. Hopefully you can join me tonight, okay? When do you go live? Because I never get an invite.
I will. I have to go live from my other channel though, so that I'm trying to build Narc Talks so I can get up to 1,000.
No, they don't do that anymore. You can have 50 now. That's done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's done now. Since America took it over.
Well, I tried to go to the plus button. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, try it.
I'll try it again, but
okay.
I'll let you know.
I have found a way to email you thing. Thank you, Angel. I was going to get back to you after this live. TKD says narcissistic people prey on people with empathy. Yes, this is what they do. That's why they need empaths. You are correct.
Hey, TKD. Hey, Scott. Yeah. Hey, Angel.
Yeah.
I'm going to get off, though. Hopefully you guys will jump on.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I've been on here since 2 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, I've been on here since 2 o'clock. But I'll be back tonight.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye. So, guys, before I get out of here, I want you guys to think about this. Okay, I really want you, Scott, if you take it over room, because I'm about to sign off in 2 minutes, but always a pleasure. There you go, Scott. But yeah, guys, I need you to, the course is out there. Okay, I got a movement that I have to actually sustain. So so the course is out there, and I create these things to be as helpful as possible. And most of it is based on how I got free, how I was able to wake up one day and be like IDGAF, I don't give a, all I care about is myself. And I want many of you to feel that way. As I said earlier, I'm dead serious about it. I need you guys with some clarity. I need you guys to break free from, the trauma bonds so that you can be of assistance to others. I'm thinking this is the logical path that we as empaths have is to be, I hope you didn't say that to me, TKD. You started trouble. She said, no, I know she's talking about Knock Talks, Oh, thank you, Angel, for the positive review. But yeah, you have to decide at some stage, as my grandmother would say, you came in this world by yourself, you're probably going out by yourself. Everybody in the middle is kind of transient. But the defining factor is you. And there's nothing.
You have to choose yourself.
Right. You
spend so much time in that relationship choosing the other person over you.
Right, right.
Now you have to choose yourself.
You do. And there's nothing wrong with that, people. You know, there is really, thank you for the heart, me angel. I appreciate
because the right person will choose you too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and this is why, you know, I started this question about the new supply, because again, I try to pick topics that I know bothered me in the beginning, and due to doing these lives, I know it bothers a lot of people. And that's what I tend to try to do. Find the things that are really getting under people's skin and helping them find a solution.
Because we lived it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and like I said, I'm just going to put my services up one more time. But like I said, it's not as hard as you think, but I'm going to tell you, it's not easy.
It's simple, not easy.
Yeah, if you're looking for an easy way out, I can't promise you that. You know, if you want to put in the work and decide,
it's simple, it's very straightforward, yeah, but it's not easy.
Yeah, if you decide one day, like, I'm tired of this BS, I've got to get clear. Then yeah, take the course. It's for you. It's made for you. You know, but don't think it's going to be, you know, like, oh shit, it's 24 hours and I'm not free yet. No, it doesn't happen that way. It never will happen that way, because the abuse that you went through was longer than 24 hours. It was longer than a week. It was longer than a month. Sometimes it was longer than years and decades. So you have to put that into perspective when you're healing. You've got to be graceful with yourself. You have to. You have to give yourself grace. Okay.
And remember that you guys are not alone.
Yeah, you're not. You're not. You know, one day maybe I'll just go to another dimension and say I never went through this, but I did. You know, I did.
Yeah.
You know, Ray Small says, "What time will you be back this evening, please?" Oh, you don't have to say please. I try to get on at 8 p.m. Eastern time, but thank you for asking. So 8 p.m. Eastern time is when I get back on. I think it's important that we have conversations like this. I don't try to sensationalize it. You know, I don't try. You know, my goal is not to be TikTok famous with this. You know, because who wants to be famous about going through this? I don't. I don't.
Yeah, we just want to help people.
Yeah, I literally want to help other people find a way to heal. You know. And I think that, you know, as I come across people like Scott, Narc Talks, Blessed 456, you know, Omnipotent Queen, these people, since they've gone through it, you know, since they going through it rather, they're able to shed some light, or at least have survivors saying, you know what, I went through that too. Maybe there is something to this. Maybe I'm not imagining this, or as you've been told, you're too emotional, you're too
we're too sensitive.
You're too sensitive, you're too reactive, you know, and everybody else says that you're crazy for saying that. No, what you felt was real. Don't let anybody take that away from you. What you felt was real, deep down inside. You just chose to ignore it because you love somebody. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I salute you for that. I think if more human beings, you know, actually put effort into relationships, there'd be no such thing as divorce court. But narcissists aren't people. They're not human beings. They're disordered demons.
Yeah.
So yeah, come on, let's
they're walking facades, they are walking lies.
Yeah, so you know, don't feel wrong about, I'm thinking about bringing that back, healing through peaceful choices. You know, you can't blame yourself for doing what you felt was right. You can't. Thank you for agreeing, TKD. You know, what you did was, I mean, there's somebody out there that's in a narcissistic relationship that probably wishes they met a person like you that was going to give their all to the relationship, that they could count on and say, this is my partner. It's us against the world. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't? We all want that.
Only the narcissist. The narcissist wants to get with someone to destroy them.
Yes, well, we all want this, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing is we gave it to the wrong person. We gave all of these feelings, all of these emotions, all of this love to the wrong freaking person. But you got to stop kicking yourself.
Pour all that love into yourself.
Yes. Yes. Stop kicking yourself and start pouring it into you so that you can shine again. So that you can shine again and you can find you didn't waste your time with this person thinking that they were your soulmate. You know, your soulmate is still out there waiting for you. Trust me, I know. They're still out there waiting for you. They're probably getting out their own narcissistic issue, but they're out there. Don't give up on yourself because that's what the narcissist wants you to do. Trust me. They know that you're great, and that's what scares them. You're the biggest threat ever to them because once you start getting your life together, they can't live that down. Flying monkeys start disbelieving them. They're like, well, that person, you said that they was obsessed with you, they don't look like they too concerned. Get to that stage, it's win-win. You win.
You get to the pinnacle of indifference.
Yeah. You know, guys, I got to get out of here. I'm done for the Church of Real Talk movement. So I got to get something done. I want to thank you all for joining. I'm going to put up my services the last time. Scott, anything you want to say to end this out?
Yeah, just focus on yourself. Mm-hmm. Focus on what you feel, what you need. If someone is disrespecting you, mm-hmm. They're not for you. Yep. They're not for you.
I agree.
Self-love, self-care, boundaries.
Yep, I agree. And with that being said, I want you guys to go out there, stay powerful, keep freaking healing. And the reason why I do everything that I do, love you guys. Have a great day, people.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.